And this is a special edition of information coming to you from the Grand Houses Community Radio Station, based in the Grand Houses in Harlem, USA. It's a roundtable discussion on how residents of the community can improve their lives and the lives of their families by harnessing the power of the internet along with their untapped creativity. We have an expanded roundtable that's going to, well, expand as we go along. And to start it off, we have three individuals who are representative of the internet community and also of the community itself. We'll start with the young lady who is Polly Spain, I'm sorry,
Yes.
it's Polly Spain, and she is a member of the Community Board 7, located here in Harlem on the west side. Along with her is the president of the New York chapter of the Internet Society, and he will explain the significance of the Internet Society. And to my left is a young man who is involved in the application of internet technology and other technology in the Harlem community and beyond, and that's Stu Reid of the Digital Partners. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll start with you. One important individual who's yet to arrive is Mr. Carlton Davis. He is the president of the Grand Houses Resident Association, and it's because of that association, the Grand Houses Resident Association's creativity, that we are now in a radio station based in the inner city of New York City in Grand Houses. It's real, it functions, and it produces information, music, and entertainment. So we'll start with Stu Reid to give us an insight into the background of this complex here, that this radio station, and also the round table.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brother Leroy, for the introduction. I just want to mention that Greg Shatan is the president of the New York Internet Society chapter. He's here with us. And I've been really just fortunate to be involved with so many incredible people here in the Harlem community and beyond. Brother Leroy mentioned Carlton Davis. He is the president of the Grand Houses Resident Association and a real innovator when it comes to utilizing technology to lift up his community. We're here in his studio that has been operational for, I guess, about 6 months now, that he had the foresight, along with his board of directors, to put together. And we have been broadcasting, streamcasting from this location for several months now. I'm also very happy to be here with Polly Spain, who both myself and my partner, Doug Frazier, of Digital Divide Partners, we have worked with for close to 10 years now on the Upper West Side, utilizing broadband and internet technology to help empower her residents. And I just also would like to mention that thanks to Dave Burstein, who we hope will join us on the line shortly. He's a technology journalist who helped kind of open my eyes to the Internet Society. And thanks to him and to Greg Shatan, who's here as the president of the New York chapter, both myself and Doug are, Doug's a chapter member, I'm a board member of the Internet Society. And Greg is going to talk a little bit about what the Internet Society does, what its mission is, and in particular how it is looking to reach out further into the community to help initiatives like what we have going on here. Before I hand it over to Greg, let me just mention that the Internet Society New York chapter has co-sponsored a couple events. One, we did a streaming webinar back in June that was another roundtable conversation. We brought in folks from all over Harlem and surrounding communities to talk about what was going on in their communities in terms of active efforts to bridge the digital divide. And the Internet Society was a co-sponsor of that event. And then more recently, we had our 7th annual Harlem Emergency Preparedness Day, produced by City College and WHCR Radio. and the Internet Society was a big supporter and sponsor of that as well. So, long introduction. I'd kind of like to hand it over to Greg to talk a little bit about the Internet Society and its mission and where you see its place in helping initiatives like what we have going on here at Grand Houses.
Thanks, Stu. The Internet Society is both global and local, which is one of the interesting things about it. There is a global Internet Society that's a nonprofit headquartered down near Washington, D.C. And then there are chapters all around the world. And one of the chapters is the New York chapter, one of the first chapters. One of the past presidents is actually right behind me, helping to stream this out to all of you, Jolie McPhee. So not only do we want to thank him for everything he's doing to get this out today, but for the years of his stewardship of the New York chapter of the Internet Society and so many other things as well. So the New York chapter functions as an organization that can bring several different things to the city. One of the things we concentrate on is community networks, and that is a very strong part. We have 3 or 4 key priorities that are priorities we share with the global Internet Society. And they include security, especially security of the Internet of Things is a new project, and routing security for the more technologically inclined. I know we have a router in the corner there, but a lot of you may not know where your router is, but you need to know whether it's secure or not. But let's talk about community networks, because that's critically important. The digital divide is a real thing. Just this past year, the world crossed the 50% barrier. So now only 49% of people on Earth don't have access to the internet. And that's still a pretty bad number. But access to the internet is not just a matter of having connectivity. It's a matter of affordability. It's a matter of user training. It's a matter of letting people know how best to use it, giving them empowerment that brings them what the internet has to offer. And the Internet Society is founded on what the internet has to offer. The founders of the Internet Society are some of the people who essentially invented the internet. They were among the first people to take 2 computers and say, let's hook them together. And what about if they're not in the same room? And what about if they're not in the same city? And what about a whole bunch of computers? And what about a whole bunch of networks? And what about connecting all the networks into one internet? Because that's what the internet is. It's a network of networks. And so as these things grew and became more commercialized and more politicized, the Internet Society concentrates on trying to keep the original promise of the internet, which is that the internet is for everyone, and that the internet is open to everyone and to every type of traffic and content as equally as possible. So clearly New York City has internet access of a sort, but it runs short in a lot of different places. I've heard that congressman who serves, maybe not this neighborhood, but up, Espaillat has said that his neighborhood is a fiber desert. So fiber is what is going to get fast, more reliable internet to people. It isn't even there. And when you do get fiber, you got to pay through the nose for it. And you're paying for whatever it is, you're paying too much. So how do you get past the monopoly, the near monopoly of just a couple of companies? We have helped to sponsor and to flourish an organization called NYC Mesh. Mostly in Brooklyn, they are building community networks node by node, and people are going up on rooftops and putting up equipment and setting a network up that way. And so the network marches on, and every once in a while they put up a big piece of equipment that helps expand it further. So that is do-it-yourself networking at a price that is, a fraction of what you have to pay the big boys. This is another example. What Stuart and Doug and Digital Divide Partners are doing, bringing the internet directly to the community, especially in public housing. There's often a desert in terms of internet access, reliability, cost. Try to overcome all of those. And then when you get it, what do you use it on? How do you use it? As we know, the internet can be used for good or for evil, and a lot of things in between, especially wasting time, whether it's cat pictures or something else. Got to give people something more than that. So that's what we try to support. So I think I've said enough. Maybe I've said too much. I hear the music that says it's time to stop talking.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Greg. Polly Spain, what has been your experience working with Digital Divide and gaining your communities, gaining access over fiber deserts and improving yourselves?
Well, I had the fortune of meeting Doug and Stu back in 2011 as a resident of public housing and also as the president of a resident association. I realized that we needed to have a way to access the internet so that we could provide what we call a virtual simulated environment. At that time, we were having problems in our buildings with certain people who were loitering, and there were like major issues going on. So for me, it was about safety, finding a way that we could come into the building safely and not be accosted by strangers. And so we had what was called a resident watch program. And when I met Doug and Stu, they explained to me that they could provide a internet access system set up where we could look at the lobby and the surrounding area of the building on our phone. So I just thought that was really powerful and huge.
If they could pull it off.
Yes, right, because, it was like I've always been an advocate for technology. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I met them and they started telling me, oh, we can do this, I was like, oh, my goodness, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need, And what was good was that it wasn't something that was out of our price range, so to speak. And also I love the fact that they had been working in other communities, particularly in the South Bronx with John Johnson, who I know has served as a president of a public housing complex in the South Bronx. So we sat down one day and Stu and Doug kind of mapped out what they were going to do. Mm-hmm. So basically it was like a pilot. I trusted them. The main thing was that it wasn't about money for them. It was something, where they wanted to give back to the community. So that really spoke to me in a large way. They really wanted to help. So we started out back in 2011. Gail Brewer at the time was the city council person. We met with her as well, and she provided some funds so that we could launch the program as an educational program where our residents would learn how to install, maintain, and use the system. So they set up the cameras. We sat down. We called it Virtual Resident Watch Program. And it was really exciting because the first week, everybody in the building was like at home watching their cell phone or their monitor or their laptop, People were coming back saying, oh, this is great, this is great. They got to see their neighbors, and they got to know who they were. That was one positive plus. People felt comfortable, especially women, coming in late at night from work. They felt safe.
That they could access
on the phone.
The surroundings on their phone.
And so before they came in the building.
And one key thing that key for me is that the opportunity that the digital advisor were bringing was not only the cameras and the internet, but also the opportunity for residents to learn how to install and maintain.
Yes, that was definitely a plus because I'm an educator. I teach special education for the Department of Education, and I realized that our young people, especially between the age of 17 and 21, a lot of them are aware of the resources that are out there. A lot of them do not have internet at home. And for them to have the opportunity to learn how to set up their own system, to get certified, so that they can start up their own businesses. You know, it's empowering. And not only that, it gives them the ability to see what they can do for their community to lift it up. So I found that to be important. I think that's very important, not to just have the internet to use just for entertainment, but also to utilize it for education, health services. You know, since 2011, our quality of life has improved 200% because of Digital Divide partners. And not only that, each one that teaches one can pass that on to the next generation,
Excellent.
and that's what it's all about.
What kind of opposition might you have gotten during that period of time to install, for the digital partners to install, and after that?
Well, NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority, I think it's because at the time, you know, they didn't understand from a technological point of view how the system would work.
Without them.
Yeah, exactly. Because here we are as residents, you know, we're not supposed to think long term, so to speak. And also as a resident leader, you know, it was a point where we had to sit down and, you know, kind of educate them as well to show that it's not something that's going to violate their policies or hurt them. You know, if we're really partners and we're really supposed to engage residents in learning and, you know, becoming self-supportive, then we need to work together. One of the things we got involved with was the elected officials. As I said, Gail Brewer was the city council person at the time. She signed on board with it. We got the NYPD involved. It made their job easier, to the point where they didn't have to get out their police car to do any verticals. So they loved it, and they also supported us. So with the elected officials and the department supporting us, and because it's an education program, you know, NYCHA saw the bigger picture.
Beautiful.
It made their job easier. Maintenance, you know, the maintenance workers were happy because the building was, you know, clean. They loved, you know, working in our building. And then also, as I said, the police department, you know, I'm proud to say we have zero quality of life issues at our building since 2011. But prior to that, the FBI would be there doing raids. I mean, it just really changed the dynamics. Yeah.
So when you say that
Yeah.
the quality of life improved
yes.
200,
Yeah, more than
300,
that.
400, 500%.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It was. It made such a difference. Okay,
And
it's been sustained.
before we go to Carlton Davis, who just joined us, what has been your experience in recommending digital partners and the opportunity that they represent to other housing developments?
They're on board. I mean, I speak to other resident leaders in the community, and they want it too. It's in very high demand. As a matter of fact, we have expanded to 5 other locations. And so right now, I have a president who's interested in also setting up a radio station as well. And Ethel Velez from Johnson Houses.
Right,
She
right.
came
Exactly.
on board around the same time that I came on board.
Right.
So that was good. And as I said, it's been a positive, you know, to me, experience, because I think now, you know, you mentioned earlier the president about the desert. Yeah, we still have pockets of deserts in public housing. So, you know, it's my wish and my hope that Digital Divide could basically expand throughout the city, because this is something that's important. And I'm here to support whatever initiatives that they want to you know, get involved with, because I feel that's important. They not only save lives, but they've empowered generations.
Excellent.
Empowerment was really the word that kept
Yeah.
coming through my head as we were listening. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, this really empowered you, and it gave you the practical tools
Right.
to get it done.
Yeah.
And this is something that, you know, we, the Internet Society, the New York chapter, hope can be replicated. The Internet Society has a grant program, not just for grant houses, but
Right.
for small grants and some large grants, and, you know, with working through Digital Divide partners or other ways, you know, we will support internet installs of this type. As, you know, our mantra is the internet is for everyone, and, you know, everyone has got to be on the internet.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And now we have the opportunity of speaking with Brother Carlton Davis of the Grant Houses. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, how you doing? I think, yeah, this is on, I believe, yes. How's everything, Brother Leroy?
Excellent.
Yeah.
And getting better.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. It's beautiful to hear that. It's beautiful to hear all the good news that's coming out throughout public housing now due to the collaborations with Digital Divide Partners and other entities that are starting to, how you say, gel together, mesh together, and realize that we can be self-sustainable and still follow rules and regulations and policies. And if NYCHA is engaging with us, as Ms. Polly Spain stated, we shouldn't have no problems creating bases like this here where people can feel in control of coming in their homes. Don't have to worry about if police is constantly in front of their building so they can get into their apartments and into the building. Being all in the stairwells and stuff. You put a camera there.
Yep.
You know, it's research. It's nothing permanent. It could come down and be put back up at a later time. Put it on another floor. Put the same camera on another floor. Wherever the problem is, put the camera there. You know, and these are the channels that I'm fighting now. You know, with NYCHA bigwigs, which is they listening. Thank God. You know, whatever I'm doing, you know, all praise due. You know, it's coming to where they're listening to not just me but us. But I'm a big vocal person. I meet a lot of them in the citywide meetings. You know, tracking and analytical people, and they the ones who's calling the shots and taking it to the people just above them. I mean, and my stuff is being recorded citywide. So when they read the books, they know that somebody's in there, you know, fighting for a better housing, you know, services to go along with the rent. And all this stuff stills come back to what we're doing here with the Digital Divide Partners. It's helped to increase the services. Because we're paying a lot of money. We're paying mortgage rates and don't have the service. So in Grant, and I hope throughout all of our housing, we don't want the finance of the dollars to be devalued, as is $1,000 a month in a public housing that you're not cleaning and repairing. It's nothing. So you're getting a twofold, you know, with me, the cameras and the services that we supposed to have the expectations to live up to, paying a mortgage, you know, a house, paying for a house, monthly house mortgage, you know, they're paying that.
Right.
You know,
Carlton, take us through what the conditions were before you brought in digital partners, Digital Divide Partners. What was the condition? What happened after that? What's the mood and the spirit of the tenants then and now?
well, I mean, quick run through from 2015 all the way up to last year, late last year. We were generating the self-esteem mentally, changing the minds that okay, you live in public housing, you don't live in the projects, you live in a high-rise building. I've never seen a high-rise building be called the projects and is sanctioned by the FAA. That's insane in twisted language and thought to think of. During that time frame, when I started doing my research, you know, which I'm good at doing, I start coming across a few names. I'm like, okay, that's Stu Reid, okay, Doug Frazier. So I did my dig deeper. They came out with a test bed for $20 million with, I believe, Columbia University and stuff. You know, a whole group of Rutgers and NITs and stuff. You know, by the time they test bed and finish up, you know, it'd be 2026. We're not waiting.
Right.
Let's make next generation NYCHA now. So I hooked up with Stu Reid and Doug. Stu put out a excellent blueprint of a large scale digital divide partner. So I seen something like what we call movable blocks, programs that you can interact with each other on even though the whole property was a large scale, that you can pick out portions of that program and have a good price.
Oh yeah, the price.
And so Stu said, "Well, what do you want?" I want the gold package. give me the gold package. So we got the gold package. Y'all in the gold package. It has everything sustainable. Life has changed dramatically. We don't have situations inside of Grant. Everything is on 125th Street. It's like we dropped the nucleus and it just all the negativity is on the outskirts now. And the precincts have to deal with it more. Our NCOs, they have the technology. They can see what they got coming in. And they want more. So I'll be talking with NYCHA. Now, even though we can do it, but we want them in. Because what y'all may not know, NYCHA is on our board, Grant Houses board for the West Harlem Development Corporation. I can insert them as committee members anytime we need to do anything on NYCHA.
Oh, that's great.
And when we have the research and the resources, and we'll pay for it, you know, I should be like, okay.
And you might even make NYCHA look good.
It has. Our property manager, oh man, they we won for exterior lighting. They did all they doing all the indoors. So we got LED coming. As soon as you walk out the LED, boom.
Nice.
LED. And kids are not in the hallways or the lobbies. They're outside. So yes, the impact is massive. And we just started. I got like a year and a half left, before the next election. So we're gonna fast walk and move through this real swift. We're gonna go through some cash real swift, and it's gonna be very intelligent wise, to help with other developments expand.
It's not the easiest thing to be the president of any grassroots organization. I don't know about organizations above grassroots. All I know is grassroots.
Grassroots.
So you have for real envy and jealousy. Just, I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he walks. That kind of stuff.
It's oozing.
What opposition? This is a good story. I'm looking for. What opposition did you have before you even got a chance to set up what Digital Divide Partners were bringing, who now are, quote, true believers?
Well, we had certain residents of the negative forces, the disagreeable ones, try to have me removed with false accusations. The Kevin Hart theory, the R. Kelly stuff, And we proved that to be absolutely false. I'm a come and go kind of person. I'm here now because I just left home. And when I finish here, I'm going back home. I don't run the streets. I don't hang. I'm a husband, a family man, you know what I'm saying, and a father. And I live by that code. So, yeah, you get a lot of mad envy. It's oozing. We have a lot of single women. We do family things. So, okay, you might be single, but let's bring your family. We go on trips. We had Mr. Stuart Reid experience trips that we go on. We took him to Fun Fusion, right up where nearby he lived, and we all enjoyed. I mean, you can see the kids just enjoying themselves. So when you have a president that will treat you like he treat his own, treat your kids like I treat my own child, take you out to with 200 of us to go eat, at the Golden Corral, and we pay for everything. Yeah, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get this who you think he is, Jesus. You get these kinds of innuendos and stuff. So yeah, I had massive problems. I was attacked the first week of October, And as a president, had to get up and get the swinging, you know, something that not for me, you know, I'm a leader. But, you know, it came to a point where I physically touched and I physically touched back.
What I'm looking for, responding to envy and jealousy, have there been converts to, hey, you know, let's do even bigger things?
Oh, that just pushed me to fight even more harder. We got a 3-trip tour to D.C. to the African American Museum coming up.
Oh, that's nice.
We're checking for weather, you know, to make sure when we leave, we come back and we don't be in no storms, you know, because we went out one time to Pennsylvania and we was in a wind gust, you know, bus rocking, you know, bus went out and yeah, so we experienced that once, and that's what we're doing now. So we got a 3-trip tour where you are guaranteed to finish this whole building.
The resident association has gotten stronger.
Yes.
The opposition has made you stronger.
Yes.
Because it's no longer assuming that everybody's going to be along with it, even though everyone has benefited
Yes.
from what has happened. And that's internet, and that's also the smart community,
That's
the
right.
cameras on each floor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this experience has been a tremendous one for you.
Yes, it has. It's taken the mass majority of positive residents, and you're starting to see who's the enemies. You know, and it's sad because these people, they speak to you, you know, they need help from you, and they're willing to tear you down because you're making the housing development better with, you know, Digital Divide partners having the resources, and we're pulling our resources with their resources, their ability to effectively apply in blind spots, you know, and can see things that on the normal you wouldn't see. Like we have an overhead shot, you know, we can see who throwing bottles and things out the window, and it can be reported. And it's, you know, and people, we're moving the negativity, you know,
Of the mind.
of the minds. That's right.
By forcing the change in behavior.
Yes, basically. Yeah, I think that's where the most of the it's this big guy. Oh my God, he come. He's like he ain't even saying enough. He just making moves, but that's what we need if we want to save the same people who wants to stop what we're doing with Digital Divide partners. We're trying to save you so you can have a home. Next generation NYCHA is not about us. You know what I'm saying? Us is about where we sitting at right now. What you see right now, this is housing. Kids could come in here and talk about
That's
their
exactly.
little the games. They when we experimented, Mr. Frazier got a chance to witness. Mr. Stuart Reid got a chance to witness kids coming in for summer lunch before we even got the money to fix that, the second part. And they used to eat in here, watch cartoons, eat their lunch, and dibble dabble, you know, around. And when they deemed the second room, the community room, unsanitary, which was good. I said, yeah. He said, you know, it's unsanitary. Shut it down. He said, but I don't want to shut your program. Shut it down. So he wrote the unsanitary condition. I turned it in, showed that we need this place fixed for the kids. The kids love, you know, want to be a part of a radio station also, where they can have extra things to do instead of just sitting outside. And we got the funds to fix there. We got a kitchen. We got 2 bathrooms. I mean, it's very comfortable. You can watch a couple of TVs out there that the big guys put up, you know, with the financial packages that we have. You just can relax.
Yeah.
Come in here and chill and enjoy yourself.
Excellent. I want to swing back to Stu Reid of Digital Partners. And what comes to mind as we hear Polly Spain and Carlton Davis speak is that there is dealing with you as a professional. And professionals are used to dealing at a higher level in terms of society, pitching business and interacting with other professionals. What has working with grassroots people done for Digital Divide Partners?
Well, you know, we kind of started on the ground. My partner, Doug Frazier, and myself, you know, we started right on the ground. I was born and raised in public housing. I'm from Cleveland originally, but I grew up in Outhwaite houses in Cleveland. Doug Frazier's a Harlem native, my partner, and he grew up in public housing here in Harlem. So that is our background and our roots. Given that we did kind of, as we came together in business, we did have a lot of experiences with so-called sophisticated folks. We were with venture capital partners in Washington, D.C., a group of Harvard MBAs, and we were their entrepreneurs in residence for 7, 8, almost 10 years, and traveled around the country with them. We were kind of troubleshooting different wireless and other technologies that they were looking at. We were kind of like their lead guys to look at stuff and evaluate stuff. We participated in a lot of the conferences. There's a group called the National Association of Investment Companies, which is the minority venture capital association, founded by the brother who was our mentor. He's now gone now. But founded by him and Reggie Lewis, who you may remember, Beatrice Food, and he's gone too. But these are some really thought leaders and really the probably the most progressive black entrepreneurs in the United States in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Our guy Herb Wilkins is his name. He's gone now, but Herb Wilkins and CENTCOM, they financed practically every black radio, TV, and cable system in the country. If they weren't the lead investor, they were in the deal. So these were the guys that Doug and I mentored under, and this is where we learned about business and about entrepreneurship. But that said, this brother Herb Wilkins, Harvard MBA, he was from the projects in Boston. Wow. And he would always say, we heard him say, the kind of entrepreneur that he wanted to invest in was not some guy with a fancy degree from Harvard or Columbia, with my alma mater. He wanted to invest in a guy from the streets, from the projects, who grew up hard, who know how to get stuff done, get stuff done on the street. One of the reasons he loved my partner Doug Frazier so much. So all that's to say, to answer your question, Brother Leroy, we're right at home being here at Grand Houses. So this is nothing we had to learn to deal with these. This is home. This is family.
Wasn't culture shock.
This is where we come from. So hopefully we'll bring in some of the stuff that we learned at our Ivy League towers, exactly. And with these fancy MBA guys and venture capital guys, we're bringing that knowledge, that expertise back home to where we came from and trying to make it work here in the community.
I want to swing to Greg Shatan, and that is, if you were reporting back to your circle of Internet Society members, what would your summary of this meeting thus far be?
This is really an example of how the internet brings people together and how it builds stronger communities, and how bringing connectivity and resources into a community helps make it safer, more sociable, stronger, more empowered, and that ultimately answers many of the goals of the Internet Society and of the Internet in the first place. That was supposed to be a force for good and a force to connect people and not to drive people apart and not to put people in their bedrooms instead of on, facing each other. So this has been used in so many ways as a community building and bottom-up organization. That's another thing that the Internet Society is very big on, is bottom-up processes that start with the people and not with the big wigs. And the way that this, started, it didn't start at NYCHA, it didn't start in some, city office of technology. It started right here on the ground. And, we have Stu and Doug and, hopefully others in other places that are bringing that kind of connectivity to the people. But ultimately, it started at the bottom. And so that's another part that's very important to the Internet Society. And so I would say that this is emblematic of the type of community networking that we want to see. And it's not just merely providing an endpoint that you can plug into and get the internet. That's just a part of the equation. And this is really showing how you can fill it out and make it a real experience, because the internet itself is just a bunch of wires and cables, undersea cables. It's a very physical thing, but what you do with it is next level. And that, I think, is what's important here, is that this is some next level stuff.
And saying the next level stuff, when this roundtable is seen and it reflects inner city innovation, how much stimulus might it provide to communities outside of the inner city to do things that would help them and their surrounding communities?
Well, I think that this shows how you can use it to bring communities together. The internet can bring people together when they're not physically so close. So we've been working with some of the communities in the Hudson Valley, where you don't have big cities, but you have small cities. You've got towns, you've got Poughkeepsie, you've got Newburgh, you've got Kingston, you've got lots of places like that. And the questions there is, are we dense enough to build community networks? And the answer is going to be yes, but it's also, what do we do? What puts the community into community networks? It's not just the fact that it's being built by the community for the community, but that it's bringing something to the community. And I think that it's also, a part of it too, is that people think that the internet, the digital desert, the digital divide, it doesn't exist so much in a place like New York. Even just telling people that is important. They think it's going to be, on a mountain in the Himalayas or in the, in the Serengeti Desert, and that's where you can't get the internet. But the fact of the matter is that you can't get the internet here, or if you can get it, you can get it for a price which you can't afford, because we don't have true competition. So what we have here is self-empowerment to undercut the monopolists.
So, may I say something, Brother Leroy? So, when Greg was mentioning the community networks, what struck me was that one of the things that we were striving for, which is here, is that after many years of Stu and I being business partners, and we were able to get a franchise from the city of New York, which was the largest franchise ever granted to someone that wasn't white in the history of this country. Probably still is, because this is the biggest city. So it was a really humongous franchise to be able to have. And what we learned really quickly was that, there is no way that they spend capital on groups of people when the capital is controlled by people who don't look like the people who live here. So one of the things that I loved about the internet society was that its goal, or its line, or its goal is that internet for everyone. And, coming from this community, from the communities that we come from, you don't hear a lot of that internet as something for everyone except for trouble. And so all of a sudden, here's a group that says, they want to provide stuff for everyone. And one of the things that we learned from this, when you was mentioning community networks, Greg, was that it's been Stu and I experiences that you're not going to be able to compete monetarily against the monopolists in this country. You're not going to be able to do that. That's a joke. And we've seen that, and we've seen that proven. So one of the things that we did here is what we decided to market FREE, because everybody understands that. And, the municipal government here in New York City spends, as Brother Leroy knows, so we got the controller to come and talk to us. The municipal government in New York City spends $17 billion every 12 months. They're the largest purchaser of goods and services in the city. And 17% of the population are the people who make the decisions. They don't make the decisions, are all cultural, made by a small group of people. Like Greg was saying, the guys in the little technology rooms where that looks like none of the people out here. And one of the biggest beefs that I have is that they're looking to provide broadband and free services to people in the rural areas, and the people right here in the city, they need the free stuff. And I disagree a little bit, I push back a little bit with Greg. It's not because of competition, it's because they have decided that they're not going to spend the money for the things that develop here, like this kind of a program, like the work that the chapter is doing. They decided that they decide what to do with that $17 billion every 12 months. Which the controller came up here and told Brother Leroy in an interview, so I'm not making that up, that's how much money that the city spends. And so they don't spend any money on these kinds of communities. They don't do that. It's not part of their culture. And so what we decided was, in building all these different networks, which we've built quite a bit over the years, and we've been feted by almost everyone, from the IEEE to New York Times to everybody. And what we learned is that you have to provide the service FREE. And that's what we do here, and that's what we do in the other locations, because the city has the money. They have they have the money, and they had the money to communicate. And you're right about community networks, because that's what works. The reason why they don't want to use community networks is because they want to advance the capitalism of, I guess, their buddies. Stu and I found out that the city of New York spends $600 million every 12 months paying Verizon in a no-bid contract for telecom services. Now, nobody here knows what those telecom services are. $600 million. So we went to the city and said, where's ours? And they got a little upset, but we didn't give a shit. And we said, where's ours? Where's the money for the community? And how come you're giving Verizon a no-bid contract? And Verizon would go down there to the Office of Technology that you're talking about, Greg, that Stu and I spent 20 years as the spooks who sat by the door with a franchise. And we saw that Verizon walking in, bitch smacked them and slapped them all up, and they would take it. And then they would write them a check. So we said, where's our check if y'all going to take it like that? And what they said, well, we need more diversity. And they decided that they was going to bring in AT&T. That's their idea of diversity. So think about that. Verizon provides Fios service, and the city pays Verizon $500 million every year. So they're building the Fios service. They charge a lot of money, and the city is subsidizing with money that belongs to all of us. So I would think what this is an example of economic development. How you want the city to invest in these community networks. We've built massive community networks. We built a 645 node network with HPD. Nobody came. We didn't get nothing. The guys you mentioned, New York City Mesh, they've got way more attention than we've ever gotten, and we've been building these particular networks all along. And not because something's wrong with them, because they're doing great work just like everybody else. But the media and everything is controlled by certain people, and they decide what the news is. And one of the things that works here is that the people who decide what the news is the people. That's what happens here. And this is why we like I'm going back to it, one of the reasons why we wanted to get involved with the chapter, because again, one of the things that you guys do that most people don't do, you say internet is for everyone. You don't hear that in these type of communities. It's not about everyone. It's about punitiveness and paternalism, where they decide who's going to be the winners and who's going to be the losers. So what we wanted to do was try to build the community networks, these various networks. We've hooked up the hospital, we've hooked up the college, all these wireless stuff that we engineered ourselves. Because people have to have a way to show that they can win and that they're smart. And we need to work with the chapter to make sure that they understand that they just can't just give the money to the rural people. They need to give money to the people in the city. And there's no reason why you should pay a private company or even somebody to pay money so you could go look at city services. So if you want to go look at one of the New York City's sites, somebody's going to come and tell you what's affordable. Now, having grown up in the project and being poor most of my life, you can't tell me nothing about what's affordable. You can't tell me some guy that doesn't look like me walks in and says, I'm providing you some affordable service. Bullshit. A poor person knows more about affordability because they're making $2 decisions every day. So you can see that the whole attitude about it is wrong. Decide, we're going to give you affordable. No, people need free service, FREE. They need to take some of the $17 billion and spread some of that shit around. All right, I'm done.
Going to Polly and Carlton, and that is, what would you like to see happen next in your complex, in your area, as it relates to what Digital Divide Partners can provide and the Internet Society can provide or strengthen?
So in my area, I would like to see not only the expansion of more services that Digital Divide has offered us, definitely a radio station set up, so that this way we can communicate with each other throughout all of Manhattan and eventually all the 5 boroughs of New York City within public housing, so that there is no fiber desert in any public housing complex throughout the city of New York. And then as an educator, I noticed that most of my public school students live in public housing. And so I'm advocating on the inside for organizations such as Digital Divide, because I feel that every child that goes to public school, they should have access to an internet signal in their area, and they don't. And so that's what I'm advocating and, doing what I can, speaking to my elected officials, speaking to other community leaders, and saying that we need to work together. Definitely I'll be working together with Carlton here, Grand Houses, Ethel Velez from Johnson Houses, so a lot of leaders don't even know that this resource is available, So for me, I would like to see us become a coalition along with the Internet Society, so we can get the word out there that there is something out there, Digital Divide Partners, that's willing to come in, and educate our young people, our residents, and it's affordable. It's free, FREE, okay? It's doable. As I said, at my complex, we have the Wi-Fi signal range outside, so a lot of the young people, they do their homework outside in the park in the back, okay? We have seniors accessing Harlem Hospital's health services. So I want to see that everywhere. And then I want to be able to communicate if there's an emergency here in the city, that I can speak to Carlton and say, let's mobilize our people, because there may come a day where there's a crisis, and we need to be able to communicate with each other when the system goes down. So that's what I want to see happen. I want to see nodes in every housing complex in the city of New York.
And Carlton, what would you like to see happen next or continue to be happening in the Grand Houses?
Well, Paulie pretty much summed it up right now. I'm challenging NYCHA bigwigs with the thoughts of eligibility and ineligibility changes of the TPA, because I found out, being the recording secretary for district council of presidents, not just the president here, but I'm also on the executive board for the district. I'm finding out that a lot of us have money in our TPA, and the normal amount that we spend comes nowhere near the money that we have in the bank, six-figure digits, $100,000 to $250,000, and you spending only $4,000. Then the next year, $24,000 come crashing in your account, and you spending $6,000 because the eligibility and ineligibilities factor. We had the federal monitors here over the summer, Miss Handy, and she was shocked to see that this place was up and running like it is. He was unbelievable. She walked in, she saw the first half, but when she came in the space, she's like, oh my God. She said, Mr. Davis, you're right. We're gonna have to work on some of the eligibilities and ineligibilities of TPA. The TPA money can push the residents and NYCHA itself through the whole entire spectrum.
TPA means
tenant participation activities. TPA, tenant participation activities, normally used for Family Day and office purchases, which won't add up to 20,000+. If you with the district, Manhattan North, you pay a 20%, which it comes nowhere near to your what you just had been building up over the past God knows how many years. I mean, we have funds that's it. I'm hoping it's there. I'm sorry, but I'm hoping that you got $200,000.
Yeah.
I hope it's there, because I'm going to get ready to use some of it. So we are putting the information out. We're starting to get the self-esteem up of other resident leaders to start going for the cameras. I was just at the cluster up there at Fred Samuel's past Tuesday, and you know me, I'm going to speak. I told them all, y'all need to buy the cameras.
That's right.
I know we got NYCHA vendors putting ours in, so we supposed to get some phone calls, and if they serious about it, I asked them, how's your councilmatic funds? How's your TPA funds? They said, our funds are good. Well, the problems you're having, we can start subsiding that.
That's right.
Like effective immediately. So I am taking and bringing them our way.
Good.
I want to create a clients list that we can have where NYCHA vendors who NYCHA quote unquote, always claim that they have to use. So we're going to use them. We're going to use NYCHA vendors that NYCHA claim. And we're going to start building systems of this communication level all around the city.
Yeah.
And we need cameras because the Viper unit, somebody might get up and, let me get a cup of coffee. Turn your head and miss
Yes.
the whole crime. Hear about it and then got to go back 3-4 days or whatever. Right? With us, instantaneous. I could put
Yep.
my camera, my phone right here on the table and watch outside, like while we conversating, do glimpse. And, you know, this kind of capability to be on your phone app since we're not landline any longer. Y'all know, we started landline, the rotary phone, 769. And don't make a mistake. Now you can, because you got to start all over again. You know what I mean? Come on, real is real. I'm from
right.
that. I'm from that
That's
era.
true, yeah.
And with the capabilities we have now, with Digital Divide Partners, showing light more than just a beacon. It's like, okay, look, we can do this. When they talk about, we need evidence, Mr. Davis. I said, you need evidence. I need evidence too, because my wife is the treasurer, and she deals with looking at the finances and stuff. And I know I'm an evidence man, but she is an evidence woman, and she's telling you what color she wants, color of the towels. I want to see $50,000-$60,000 worth of stuff. How much that cost? Okay, I got somebody that's a true treasurer, and we provide the evidence because we wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And then Digital Revive said, well, here's the evidence.
Yes.
So their evidence matched our evidence. As I stated earlier, they have a moving block. We picked the best block that they had out of the whole entire package, and now we can build.
Yes.
And we're about 1/3. We
Yeah,
1/3,
wow.
and we 1/3. So another 2/3, we would complete a package, a complete package. When you see it, it's like it's unbelievable
Yes.
how things change. I'm still
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's FREE. But I'm saying the
The results.
just the results with
Yeah.
the mentality, the whole. It's not just free. It's not
Right.
just the camera. It's the whole thing.
You got to give us the actual picture. You're describing that there is a picture.
The picture is that
The ingredients of
the
that
ingredients of this here is that we have kids all the way up to 90-year-olds coming in, and will be coming in for training. We got a list that's unbelievable. The rate of our residents done went from 50 to 80 lining up to be a part of
This initiative.
giving out the information that's in grant houses and using Digital Divide Apartments, resources to connect Brother Leroy,
Right.
Polly Spain.
Let me take this
Yeah.
thing of evidence one step further. So I think there is a great story here, a great reality here. It's not a story. And we have a picture of it, and the picture is getting more vivid in my mind just as we talk about it. But we need a way to get the message out. And the Internet Society has ways of getting messages out around the world through websites, through web casts like this. But what I think is needed here, I would suggest a documentary, a short documentary, 5 to 7 minutes, something that's people can watch, that's well produced, that tells the story, shows what this produces, and shows what this type of community networking brings. One of the reasons I think NYC Mesh gets good press is that their story is very simple, and it's easy to tell, it's easy to see what their story is. The story here is actually more complex and richer in many ways, but it's something that has to be brought together. It's not just a 15-second soundbite.
Right.
There's really a lot of levels to this.
And that's why I can't get to the juicy part because we build it. I mean, it's building up, but like
Yeah, I know.
people don't even know what to say. They like, yo, the guy that came in here with me, you know, that was my former boxing trainer and advisor. He like, yo, can we do our show? I'm like, yeah. Can we give information
Yeah.
because we can get these kids that's out and
Yes.
about off the streets.
Yes.
But I
can
think
get-
you could reach out to somebody, whether it's people in the community, you could reach out to Columbia University, which
They've been here.
It's here, and it's
They were here.
It's
City
looming up.
council,
Everybody.
Ghetto-
everybody.
Yeah, the Ghetto Film School, Tribeca Film, whatever it is.
That's right.
There's lots of people out there who are looking to make documentaries. There are all those graduate students who need a really good subject.
We
and
will,
who need
we
an
will be
audience.
talking to Mr. Robert De Niro.
Absolutely. There's all sorts of people. One of my high school friends, his daughter just got a documentary into a major documentary thing. I'm even going to ask her about this. I don't know what her next documentary is going to be, but there is a story here, and what you need is that short but rich enough thing that can go out where people can get clicks. You know, this is a very good talk, but we're not going to get 2 million clicks on a 2-hour conversation. Right. Well, if we get 5 to 7 minutes with some soundtrack and nice video editing, and the package that's there tells a story that's compelling.
Well,
It
Mr.
will-
President of Internet Society, we got our training courses coming up next. So that's one of the richness. It's just, it's so much happening. It's moving so fast, and I'm seeing the people, the kids.
Yeah.
It's like something
Yeah. Like
positive just flowed over them, and they really are looking forward to enriching themselves in here, and plus we're gonna spread. We got people like saying, "Hey, next door neighbors, I want that."
Yeah.
Dude, we got people that want the technology, and to get to this big point is when all of us is in here and what you stated, and we're doing documentaries. You got Brother Leroy, asking the vivid questions. He wants that picture that we can't get to yet. That God awe-inspiring picture of absolute nurturing in public housing. We don't live like animals here, and that's one of the, because people think, oh, you live in the project. Oh, no. If you clean the projects and you mop the floors like it was done in the 70s and made the repairs, you couldn't tell us from co-op. Well, I'm the president that was installed by a higher authority. I turned down a good job to work for no money. And I've been blessed. My bills are paid. Our books are perfect. And that's one of the real vibrant reality is that you could take a person like me who's, street, a street fighter, a boxing, a ring, and all these things, martial arts and all that, and actually have me lead people. And everybody know I'm tough. I spent 10 years federal service military with the Navy, cryptology and writing the recruiting manuals and all these great things. To take a person that was hard as a rock, and mold this person to where he can, when he speak, like people listen. Like, okay, he got a little animation. He don't look like it. He got some knowledge. Oh, wait a minute. He can tell you, some things about some things.
Yeah.
According to, public housing, I could tell you everything. I could tell you where the pipe's at. I ain't even just in what apartment you in. I could tell you how your whole apartment is designed. That's what kind of leader they got that goes door to door, 1,940 doors. Check on the elders. Y'all see that we have refreshments. We come with the juice packs and water and everything. We got some 5-gallon joints there. Water go out. We out there pushing out, for people filling up their buckets with water. I think if that's the get to it point, all this is nurturing and pushing that. We were doing it, and now we could do it. We can actually see what we're doing.
Hey, Carl,
Yes.
let me ask, can I ask Greg a question?
Yes.
Greg, I wanted to know, when you were talking about the thing about the stories, that was important because one of the ways that we were able to start this is we were at a meeting, I believe it might have been with Polly and them, and somebody mentioned to us that, have anybody ever seen a positive story about something in the housing authority? And it was dead silence in the room. So we said, hey, why don't we build our own thing? And so when you were talking about getting the story out, I think that has been one of the, Stu and I have gotten a lot of, we got a great media package about what two dopey black guys could do that's unusual. Okay, so, right, but you're right. The New York Mets guys have had very easily to get all these particular stories, and somehow or another we need to have a way to get the story told, because one of the things that drives people crazy in our community is that when people are doing something good, nobody's around.
Right.
When something bad happened, you got five trucks out there. If somebody got stabbed in their toe, there'll be 5 media trucks out there. Sound like we're live from from the guy's stabbed toe. Wow, literally, and nothing positive is ever said. So how can you're one of the few first guys that we've met that actually knew that. So how could you help us make that happen?
Well, I think we need to help put together with resources. This may be something where we have some small grant programs that the Internet Society runs that can be accessed through the chapters, and Stu has worked on a couple of those. We even have some big grants programs that can do things too. But there's also, the Internet Society has literally a worldwide network of chapters. Not in every country, but certainly on every continent. Number of places you can get the word out. There's a lot of traffic. The Internet Society is hooked into a lot of other organizations and into the government, and there's just a way. What you have to do. This is a great story. This is not just the story of Doug and Stu. It's not just the story of Grant Houses, but it's the story of what happens when people come together. When people who have a vision and have the power, have been given the power, and then they bring the power to the people, and that enables them to take this whole thing a much more positive thing. This is a great story for the internet, for the people, and for what real people need from the internet. Because
we need what I'm looking for, who we need, and we'll get here. Will be Lisa Evers, McGee Hickey, Nina Pineda, all them from the news. They're going to sit in these seats. And they're going to witness, when you talk about public housing, we're going to have a positive outlook that's moving in that direction. And we're not going to be dwelling on the small things that's happening. We need positive focus. Unless me running for president for this whole and taking what I'm taking means nothing. If we're not going to change the mindset, the positive, we're going to sit here and have positive conversations. And when you leave negativity behind, it never catches up. Because this is a boundless universe. And it's built on perpetual positivity. Endlessly. And when we follow those paths, we follow that righteous path, Siratu Mustaqim, we can be successful. Everybody. Right now, we got Columbia students. They come through Grant. Yo, what's up? Hey, how you doing? What's up, man? People never spoke. All ethnic, Asian, whatever. Some, they give a nod, give them a nod back. That's the
respect.
The respect. We got stores that's brand new stores that we're going in. Grant, we promoting the pharmacies. They come to the meeting, do their presentation before this was. Now they can do their presentation here. Tell them hit your buddies up on YouTube. Everybody YouTube up. That's where you get everything at. We all YouTube our peoples. We're gonna be on such and such. Start putting out the flyers, hang them up. Talk to Nigel. Look, I need this posted. And you can be part of it, and let them know that we're gonna have a show coming up and who all going to be on it. Start giving these people who's going to be there, who's all interested in pushing Digital Divide Partners technology to a higher level.
Well, we want to push the people, because our goal is to help people to be smart.
Yes,
And
but
that's what we're really pushing.
but see, you know what? You might have missed the big picture. You know, I'm a big head. All the people that's here and involved are Digital Divide Partners. So it's not just dedicated to y'all. It's you done created a huge nucleus.
Yes, you have.
So it can't just be surrounded not by y'all. You gotta accept that you done created a whole bunch of Doug Fraziers, a whole bunch of Stu Reids, man. We got you. We behind y'all.
We need some
Yeah.
Shatans. That's what we
It's a movement.
need.
I'm right here with you.
Yeah, we need the grads. We need it.
Yeah.
We need this kind of momentum to push the elements of ourselves to a higher level. These kids some of them think it's just hanging out in front of the building. Nah, you could be right here doing. I was in the streets, man. You know, in my day, you could talk about what your day was. Get it off your chest.
Well,
You know?
because some of we did some test shows here. Some of our most viewed shows were the residents coming in here and talking and having a chance to talk about things that's affecting them. Unlike the mainstream media. So when you see the mainstream media, which I like using that term, but they tell the stories that they're telling. And the stories about what's going on in the community, they're not interested in that for whatever their reasons are. And the things that are important to all of us are not important to them. And we were actually at a meeting one time and we were talking about this and somebody said, well, there's some white guys in Brooklyn doing something. That's really interesting. And they just act like we didn't even count.
Wow.
They said, I said, well, why isn't this story interesting when it's even greater because we don't have any money? He said, yeah, but I like what the white guys are doing. It was a white guy talking to us. And so people see that all the time, that certain people will tell their stories and the good stories about other people they never tell. They never get told, and so you're one of the first guys that I heard. Hey, we need to get the story out. Now, I'm saying to you, I appreciate that you actually even if you don't mean it, that you actually.
Oh, I absolutely mean it.
No, I'm just saying.
We gotta get it out there.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I am doing this. I've been doing things connected to the Internet Society for several years, connected to internet policy now for almost over 15 years. But I've been living in New York City almost years, and I did not live in public housing, but I lived a block away.
You knew about it.
It was right there. I was right there in the mix. Frederick Douglass Houses was a block behind where I lived, and then across the street you had Park West Village. And if you want to tell the difference between a co-op and they have balconies.
Right.
They have bigger windows. They have bigger windows.
Basically.
Yeah, but still. What brings us together is a lot more important than what takes us apart. And, one of the ways that political power gets dealt is by who you can take apart and divide. And so this is empowerment. And, this is important to me because this is what the promise of the internet is supposed to be for everybody, not just some everybody's, not just the more equal everybody's, but everybody. And so my son right now works in the Bronx doing community development, sponsored by MIT. And he is working on things like development without displacement and issues just like this. My wife works in the South Bronx on Brown Place and on Southern Boulevard near St. Mary's houses. And with the foster care system. She's a psychologist. She sees all kinds of kids and they're all good kids, but she sees the opportunities that they do not get.
Right. Because when I was coming, when I was coming up here, when I first moved here, you have no idea. Short, quick one. I was born on 114th Street, Lenox and St. Nick's. That's the Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas. And I've seen where our black males went, our grandfathers. And things of that nature there coming from the Vietnam War, in the late 60s and early 70s, like 1970, 71. Well, I lived it. People heard about it. But every day I had to walk on that street block to get to Seven Brothers, where we called them Black Irish. But they had the curly hair, curly red hair, you know. We ain't know nothing about coloration. All we knew is that, you know, we had the meat market. And, you know, and I had to push through what they call dope fiends. And just the real living dead. And I know the violence behind once they come off of that. And Foster Projects was across the street, not King Towers. Foster. And it looked like Coming to America. The fences were shiny silver, and it sparkled in the night, the lights and everything. And I'm looking up the block, and I'm like saying, damn, I would love to live in a place like that. And I'll go visit my friends who went to school at PS 208, right across the street. And I mean, like, at the Lang Locke School, y'all know Lang Locke. He was a great man. Never was told though, but thank you. And I mean, when I went into Foster Projects, man, the apartments, it was like, wow. I'm from the tenement. Now we lived good too, but we lived in a tenement. You know, 5 flights of stairs you run down, backyards and stuff. They had parks and when we got burnt out and moved to Grant, I like, holy shucks. You talking about in the Jeffersons, you know. We watch Good Times, you know, but the Jeffersons. Like, we moved on up. It was clean. You could run down 21 flights of stairs with no garbage, no graffiti, no nothing until like the 90s. You know, I was, you know, Virginia, Maryland, DC, traveling, you know, with the CNRC headquarters. That's Command Navy Recruiting Command headquarters. And when I came back, you know, the first thing I did, what I did all the time, you know, I was with my peoples. I'll buy pizza, you know, juices for the kids, pizza for the kids, whatever. We talked, we sat on the bench, played a little baseball or whatever. And all the way up to the election 2015, I was in film and photography. You know, I was an independent producer with Eminem. I made my money by showing that I'm skilled, you know. And when I became president, you know, all along I wanted to bring Grant back to what Grant truly really is. That, yeah, you got your kids running around, but when you go inside, you know, it's clean. Your hallways are clean. You ain't got garbage piled up to your eyeballs, man. We had garbage piled up to our eyeballs just right here. Put them cameras in, you got like 1 bag of garbage, maybe 2. You know, you see somebody putting a lot of stuff up, get on the computer, get to typing, type out a flyer, stick it all around. When they walking down the stairs and we see you throwing the garbage in the stairwells. We thank you for your video.
Yeah.
Your video file will be taken down to the law department so they can look at your video. And that's public housing. That's better in public housing to me. It is very effective.
Yes.
So we're going to do 9 buildings and put cameras in the stairwell and access people to see, look at your neighbor.
Right.
This is the one who talk about, all these people throwing garbage. They the main ones. Yeah. You know? And change can and will come. It's coming already. It's already here.
Yeah.
So we feeling good about it.
Yeah.
You know? And we just started fighting.
Yep.
I just want to mention one thing that happened in Polly's place. There was a, you know, in her building, there was a guy who they decided that they thought that the guy was following a young lady.
A little girl, yeah.
Following a little girl. And so that was the rumor going around in the building.
Yes.
When we went back, and Stu and I went down there, the ladies themselves had already accessed the cameras. Some of your team members.
Yes.
They had already accessed the camera and come to find out that the guy who they said was doing that, that wasn't the guy.
Yeah.
It was actually someone else. And actually, the little girl did everything perfectly. She came in the building.
Yeah.
You could hear the guy talking behind her, talking crazy. She went over to the mailboxes and slid right back outside and waited till somebody she knew. to come and walk her upstairs.
Yes.
So the guy who everybody was initially angry with, who lived in the building, had nothing to do with it.
Right.
It turned out to be some other guy who hangs around the corner,
Exactly.
didn't even live in the building, and they were able to figure out what happened right away. Same thing at Ethel Valdez's place when the little girl got kidnapped. Little girl got kidnapped, well, I shouldn't say kidnapped, went with a family member unauthorized, and nobody knew what happened. They were able to go back and look and see that the little girl went somewhere with her uncle, and who wasn't supposed to do that, and they were able to find out what was going on, and boom. So there have been multiple times when the systems have been used, and never mind the emergency stuff, have been used to help people to be smarter and to kill rumors that go around that have no validity, that mean nothing. And all of a sudden, so instead of having a system where they're waiting for somebody to get hit in their head and then they're gonna go look and see who did it, everybody's watching from the beginning, and it kills the noise because everybody's able to see.
Right, it's like being proactive, you know.
I think
so it
that's
empowers
what
us to be proactive.
And that's why I think having a story out is prominent, because people don't know that about these kinds of
Exactly.
They think that the people are just sitting around waiting for a parade, waiting for somebody to come and give them $2 so they can get a loaf of bread. Just
Exactly.
waiting for stuff. And you got people standing around there. I mean, again, if you look at the Housing Authority statistic, half of the people who live here are unemployed. There's more people who live in the Housing Authority than the state of Vermont. Now, I would make the case that if you had half of the people in the state of Vermont unemployed, somebody would do something. Somebody would have a story about that. But you don't get that here because you don't have something that says, we're working for everyone. And that's one of the things that, I'm sorry, Greg, I keep coming back to you. That's one of the things that the Internet Society does. This is what prompted me to become a member, because it's free to be a member. And we want to try to get some kind of campaign with Mr. Davis so that we can get as many people, and probably as many people signed up as possible. But you gotta have people who can help you get the story out, who can help tell the story in a proper manner, who can get to the other people who see that when given the opportunity, people can do things. But they're never given the opportunity because, why should people give other people a chance if they're winning?
Well, the Internet Society, can be used to get people chances. I'm glad you mentioned the fact that it's FREE to join.
Yes.
You just go to internetsociety.org, you join the Global Internet Society, and then you can join a chapter or chapters of your choice. She's clearly joined the New York chapter, but
Correct.
if you want to join the chapter in Kathmandu just to see what they're up to, you could do that too. Then the more people are involved in the chapter, the more that we can get projects and things done and put this out. One of the things that also it's interesting listening to this, the internet is not the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web uses the internet to get around, but the internet is its own thing. So this is not the World Wide Web Society. And we have only scratched the surface of what kind of content you can put on the web using this, but yet you've done so much that has nothing to do with web content, or has very little to do with web content, or maybe it's delivery of things like camera video and stuff like that, but not putting together children's shows. All that would be good too, but the internet itself is what empowered and powered this, which is a great story about what the internet can do. And when you talk about the Internet of Things, the things are things like cameras and all sorts of smart devices and things like that. So, you in a sense, you've made a leap ahead because you're using the internet more as an Internet of Things than an Internet of content. You got both sides, of course, and you've also got radio content and other things, but the fact of the matter is that you're using this network that brings data and power and connectivity around to people, and you are taking it to a place where it has radically changed a community. And as you say, a community that is part of a community the size of Vermont, that would be one of the 50 largest cities in the United States if it was put by itself. Now, we can talk at some other time about how people get packaged up so that they can be ignored.
How do you do that?
and look at and at least you're in a place here where you're in the center. You got Harlem, you got Columbia, you got Central Park, you got a whole bunch of good stuff nearby. City College, they pushed a whole bunch of projects out to Far Rockaway. That was not a mistake. That was not to encourage surfing. That was to, package people.
Well, you know what we need to do? We need to get you in our meeting this Thursday, if you're available. All of us need to show up and actually get people to start signing up, because we have a large membership, and we're due for next year. Membership is coming right around the corner. 2020 is right around the corner, and the first 90 days can be a great jump start, or the first 100 days going into 2020. It'd be great to actually start having people sign up on one of the forums and start putting it together for where they want to be on in the Internet Society. People will sign up, people will start to become involved in it, and we can work our way right out of that nucleus there and grow.
Now, this Thursday, I'll be teaching at the North American School of Internet Governance in Montreal.
That's very important.
But that's important. But Stu is going to be around. Stu is the secretary of the New York chapter of the Internet Society, and I think getting the message out, and frankly, the Internet Society New York chapter, a lot of what we do is based on what the members want to do, and the more members you get that want to do a thing, the more likely that thing is to get done. So
when the membership hear about something that is tangible as this nature, and is also interlocked with what's going on now, we have no problems getting people to actually sign. They are very well aware of Stu and Doug. They sit in the midst and they conversate, and they bring in people together when the presentations slow down and we preparing for the next presenter. They are mingling with the people. They letting them know what is available. We need that on that platform to be up and in front of them now. They done mixed in the people. They done got a chance to have themselves exposed to what they're capable of doing. Now we need them on the forefront to actually bring another format to them. And this would be great. The Halloween thing on this Thursday is a forum. You could come, Polly Spain. You're welcome, invite. We put you on the agenda, but we have a plethora of food, and everybody's just going to basically mingle. It'd be a fundraiser without the fun.
Oh, you didn't tell me there would be food.
Yeah, it'd be some woo.
Maybe I'll change my schedule.
Yeah, we're gonna have some good food.
So it'll be like a meet and greet, and people just talking.
When it comes around the holiday season, people be like, "Oh, hardcore, we gotta find out this." And you get there, you hear light music.
Oh, nice.
And like, what the heck is this? Carlton, what you doing? Oh, we gonna mingle.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Such, and start introducing.
Nice.
It's like a network where we all, come together, and they never had that done.
Wow.
In the previous 20 to 30 years of association, but we had it for going on 6 years now.
Nice.
Then every holiday or whatever, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we throw a nice event, and then other events follow. We might have a back-to-back event, an event and a party, and things like that for the kids. So this would be a great time to actually, on Halloween, get the positivity of the Internet Society applied and implemented, and start really getting the people that's really involved, that's really want to move fast forward into what we're doing.
So, Greg, Stu's going to be there Thursday, you say?
I absolutely promise those two will be there.
Thank you, Greg.
And Doug, I know you're going to back me up on this one.
So as we round this out, I want to go to Stu in terms of Digital Divide Partners and the vision that you had as you launched Digital Partners, and what you see now, what has opened up since that particular initial vision. Where do you see this going?
Yeah, the thing that gratifies and inspires me most is to see people like Polly Spain and Carlton Davis and Ethel Velez and others that have picked up the mantle of what technology can do and how it can be used as a tool to empower and lift up our communities. There's only so much that me and Doug can do. We're just two guys. But I'm just so happy that we've been able to kind of infiltrate and, as Carlton said earlier, expand the whole base of what the Digital Divide Partners is. So it's not just a couple of guys, it's a whole community. So to see resident leaders like the folks we have here at the table and others pick up the mantle and start to move forward on their own, coming up with their own solutions, their own applications. I just want to give a shout out to John Johnson, who's a resident leader that we go back maybe 10, 12 years, maybe 15 years, Doug and myself, who was the first resident leader. He's in Mount Haven Houses in the South Bronx, that came to us and said, hey, can you guys help me? I have this problem and that problem. Can you use technology? Can you put in some cameras and help with the quality of life? And he's the one that introduced us to Polly Spain, introduced us to Ethel Velez, which led us to Carlton. So he was a really foundational leader who got it really at an early time. And I'm so excited now to see 10, 12 years later that so many others are picking up the mantle and that the Digital Divide Partnership is really expanding throughout the community.
And how can people who are watching this make contact with Digital Divide?
Send us an email at info@ddpny.org. That's
Repeat
the best
that,
way.
please.
Info @ddpny.org.
And Greg Shatan, how can people connect with your organization?
Well, they can go to isoc-ny.org. They can write to me, Greg at isoc-ny.org, or president at isoc-ny.org. Go on the internetsociety.org website, find us, join the chapter, get on our mailing list, hear about the stuff that we're doing, join the chapter and make things happen. And, we'd love to just, this is all about connectivity, so let's connect.
And as we conclude, how can folks make contact with you, Polly?
They can go to federal8.org, and we have our website, and so my contact information is there.
Very good. Carlton?
They can contact me with my cell. I'm mobile. I'm in the field majority of the time. It's at 347-421-1699, or they can contact me through my email, carltondavis64@gmail.com.
Repeat that.
carltondavis64@gmail.com.
And Doug Frazier and Stu.
GHCR.NYC. GHCR.NYC.
Very good. Thank you very much. This has been a roundtable discussion, and it's been very grassroots. And especially with the commercials from Brother Doug. Got me scared up in here. I started right out of here. But anyway, the point is that this has been a community roundtable to discuss the power that exists, that all that has to happen is for it to be tapped into. And when you have tenant or residents of various communities saying, look, I need a change, and finding that change opportunity with an organization such as Digital Divide Partners, you have a convergence of the perfect storm of creativity. And we're going to follow up on the ideas that Greg has shared. Hey, this should be a 5 or 7 minute documentary. We have so much talent within the community to do that virtually immediately once we get those folks together. So thank you very much for viewing this. Thank you, Carlton Davis, and the residents of Grand Houses for enabling a radio station to be put right here in Harlem. It's the second one outside of the James Weldon Johnson houses, and it makes a world of difference. Thank you very much for watching this Community Roundtable.